Welcome to the We've Been Drinking MMA podcast. We are talking about the UFC Fight Night 221, and we are talking about the main event between Petr versus Merab Dvalishvili. I, I, there's no way I got that last name right, but let's go. Let's go with Merab. So Jan versus Merab, and I'm gonna go with going the distance. And what do you think about that backhand?
Yeah, man. I'm thinking the same way. Um, I'm going with. This funny thing is they have Peter Yan as a minus 250 favorite. They got him as a 70% favorite, and so minus 250, $250 to make it 100. So my prediction is that it's gonna go the distance, gonna go all three rounds, and it's actually minus 200 to do that. So it's cheaper to actually bet going the distance than it is to bet on even the favorite of the fight, who is a former champion and just lost his belt. And so this is the thing about the fight. We have the stats. They're basically even on everything. They have like roughly the same reach, same height. Only difference is that Peter Yan has 5.3 significant strikes per minute, and Merab has 4.2 significant strikes per minute. But Peter Yan has 1.8 takedowns per fight, and Merab Dvalishvili has 6.5 takedowns per fight. He's a dominant wrestler. So this is the thing, though, is that Merab Dvalishvili is one of those fighters who likes to go forward. And Jan also likes to go forward, but Dvalishvili really likes to go forward. Like, he'll rush you with punches and then just clinch you against the cage. He'll really waste time on the clock and then try and take you down. And he's just rinse and repeat. So
To go off what he says, Marab is setting up the strikes to bring you down against the cage or just bring you down in general. Peter Young is Petr Young is going for his strikes to set up something more powerful with his strikes, like with his speed and his leg kicks. It's more like athletic with his strikes. As far as Marab goes, it's more like straight and trying to set up his takedowns. So, what do you think about that?
yeah, man. So I feel like Peter Yan does have the edge on the feet. Peter Yan has really good defense and offense. Um, the thing though is that Peter Yan kind of likes to he doesn't really he's not super dynamic with his footwork. He doesn't like to go really fast and really strike with you like that. He likes to just inch forward here and there. Kind of little hesitations. To little feints, little here and there. Keeps his hands on his head, very much like a tank, but a very slow tank. So it's hard to really damage him, which is the reason why I'm liking that it goes a distance all three rounds. And then his aggression, he likes to really pick and choose his spots. And against people who don't have a good defense or get over aggressive, he can hurt them. Or if they let Peter Yan go forward, like Peter Yan likes to go forward, then he'll do good against them. However, Merab Dvalishvili, he likes to go forward even more than Peter Yan. So I see Merab really going forward, taking the center of the octagon, going forward, pushing Peter Yan more back. And the reason for that is Merab is more of a guy who likes to really speed forward, almost like lunging in and really like sprinting forward with punches. But he's not getting reckless. 2 fights ago against Marlon Moraes, he was doing the same thing, going forward, and he was getting hit a lot while he was going forward and throwing punches. And even though he won the fight, he almost got knocked out. Like, he was basically the announcers. I can't remember who it was, who was the commentators, but they were like, "Wow, a lot of people would have stopped this fight. We would have said it was going to be fine to stop the fight." As he was getting ground and pounded into almost being unconscious by Marlon Moraes. So he ended up coming back. It was an amazing lion. He had like a lion heart. It was amazing to see him come back, and he won the fight dominantly with his wrestling and going forward and clinching against the fence and doing all the things he needed to do to win a fight against a guy who's a great striker. But in his last fight, he fought Jose Aldo, which was, I think, Jose Aldo's retirement fight. And Merab was just brilliant. He, instead of going forward with reckless abandon and getting punched while he was punching, Merab came up with a completely new game plan. He was going to keep the distance. So now he would basically, he's standing farther away from his opponent, Jose Aldo, in this fight. and he would only go forward when Jose Aldo was kind of like starting to hop around, and right when it was a good chance to throw punches and not get hit, that's when Merab would dart forward, and then he would clinch Jose Aldo against the cage, and then he would go for takedowns. But Jose Aldo has probably the best takedown defense of all time, so he didn't get taken down. But that was what Merab did. He basically waited for the right moment where he would throw 1, 2, or even sometimes 3 punches, and then just rush Aldo, get him against the cage, and go for takedowns. And when they were standing at the center of the octagon, he was keeping that distance perfect because of his fight with Marlon Moraes. He didn't want to take any more punishment, so he's really keeping that distance perfect now. And against a guy like Jan, he's going to do the same thing. Merab is going to take the center. He's going to keep that distance though, and when he gets the right read and he sees that Petr Yan is covering up too much or is a little hesitation, that's when Merab will dart forward with some punches. Not really looking to really land too hard, but he does throw with some heat and to scare the other guy, and then he really just rushes and puts you against the fence. So I don't see Merab getting submitted because he's the much better grappler with 6 takedowns and got submissions on his record. And Petr Yan is more of a guy who can wrestle, but he likes to stand up and really is that slow tank. So Merab is not going to get the finish because he's really just goes for just the rush against the fence. He's not really looking for double legs perfectly and really transitioning to single legs. He's really just trying to clinch you against the fence and basically stall. That's what he's trying to do, and that's why going the distance, going all 3 rounds, makes a lot of sense in this fight.
That's 100% true. One fighter is trying to strike to keep the fight on the feet. Another guy is trying to strike to get the fight on the ground. So, this fight might be a little bit boring.
Yeah.
But like, as far as main events go, but like Jan is a great fighter. Dvalishvili is a great fighter. This fight's gonna go a distance. But that's my prediction, and thank you.
Yeah, man, minus 200 to go all 3 rounds. So it's a great price. Like we said, Merab is going to keep that distance, so he's not going to get hurt because he learned from that second to last fight with Marlon Moraes, and so he's going to be leading the dance going forward. So, he's just going to basically be clinching a lot. Jan is going to have to fight him off and just try and counter here and there. But again, Merab's keeping that distance. So Merab can't really finish Jan, but Jan can't finish Merab because Merab is being really smart these days and keeping that distance. So it's going to be a kind of a rinse and repeat, boring fight. But Merab is getting wins. So who knows exactly who's going to win? But we know it's going to go the distance. So that's the play, guys. So appreciate the listening. Thanks a lot.
Thanks for listening, guys.